we're going to dig into some mental health stuff. So I have a Facebook page and a web page blog the blog is not very good. That there's nothing there basically. It's basically all on Facebook, and then I just kind of started stuff on YouTube. This might be the first one really that I'm like, I talk about it a little bit in other videos, but this one I'm going to be talking about it a lot. So I have bipolar depression. I was diagnosed with that a couple years ago, and 4 years ago I was diagnosed with bipolar 2. And then before that, they thought I had attention deficit disorder and anxiety. Definitely had post-traumatic stress disorder. I had an abusive mom and neglectful dad. They're both abusive in their own way, I guess. My mom was mostly emotionally, physically, and mentally abusive. And then my dad was mostly emotionally abusive in that he was very neglectful as a parent. He chose work over his family for about 13 years, and then 14 years. And then he decided to be a dad when I was in high school, and I was kind of done with him. So it took him like a really long time to earn my trust back. When he would discipline my brother and I when he was home, which was very little, he was traveled 75% of the time for work. His spankings wouldn't really stop. Like they would just keep going till like, I don't know, he was satisfied with his anger, I guess. Like I remember running into the bathroom and locking the door with my brother in there several times and him banging on the door because he wasn't done spanking us, which is messed up. So I didn't really have a lot of respect or trust in either of my parents. They were inconsistent with their parenting. Like I feel like I just parented myself, to be honest. And my mom raised me to be really independent, and her and I butt heads all the time. The last time she physically abused me, I fought back for the first time. And I called the police on myself, actually. Neither one of us pressed charges. I ended up going to the ER because her dog attacked me because I was like blacked out and like beating her. And a lot of that had to do with internal family systems. Like I saw a trauma therapist that was really helpful. She had just like a lot of good material that like helped me. It just dug a lot deeper into my trauma and the root of my anger towards my parents and towards like a lot of authority figures, I guess. Like I didn't have any issues like in school or with anything else. Like I had like a lot of respect for people who have structure and rules that make sense, instead of parents who would tell me I'm grounded 1 minute by one parent and the other parent forgot and like just said I could do whatever I wanted to. So I'm not saying that my parents were bad people. I think they did the best that they could, but I think both of them needed to go to therapy for their own stuff. My mom has PTSD. She's bipolar and she has schizophrenia, according to every psychiatrist and therapist that I've like seen in the last decade plus. And a lot of people told me that I should just not have a relationship with my mom at all. So I can't really do that. So I take breaks from my mom. So right now I'm on a Facebook and call break from her. We still text, but I told her I do not want to talk to her on the phone for a week. And she has not been my Facebook friend for about a month now because I blocked her, then I unblocked her, but just kept it unfriended. So like, I just need to take lots of space from her. She really enjoys telling people negative things about me constantly, which is really damaging to my emotional health. But literally everything that comes out of her mouth is garbage and lies. So like, I know she has her own mental health issues and she refuses to get help for them. She has an excuse for everything. But she seems to be able to have no problem trying to control and manipulate everything that happens in my life. So I live in Texas. She lives in Wisconsin, and she is one of the biggest reasons why I don't live in Wisconsin anymore. And one of the biggest reasons why I will probably never move back to Wisconsin until she dies, to be honest with you. So my dad died 5 years ago. It'll be 5 years in October. So 4 years ago now. 4.5 years ago. He died from stage 4 pancreatic cancer. It spread to his liver, lungs, literally everywhere. Like cancer consumed his body from the inside out. And that was really hard. He was diagnosed after 5 days in the hospital. He went in for hernia surgery and they found pancreatic cancer. And he died 5 days after his final diagnosis. So like I was there for 5 of the days and just talking to him on the phone from Texas for the first 5 days. My mom told me not to come. She told me she didn't want me there. And like, she's just, honestly, she's a horrible human being. Like, she just is. Like, she's like the nicest, most generous, kindest person to everyone but me and my dad. Like, me and my dad are her triggers. And like, I'm her trigger because she raised me to be exactly who she wanted to be. And like, I've accomplished all these things. She had big dreams for me growing up as a kid. And then apparently once I got close to attaining these goals and these dreams that she never in her wildest, because she's afraid of everything, like, she just got really jealous of me and became very abusive and psychotic to me. And like, then when I started getting help for the mental illness that she put in my body, like, I and my dad contributed as well. Like, I used to think when I finally got diagnosed with bipolar disorder, I thought it was because it was hereditary and my uncle had it. And so I had it because of that. But that's not true at all. Like, mental illness comes from, it's not really like, they ask you in doctor offices if like anyone else in your family has a mental illness. And that makes sense because your family, it's environmental. It is not hereditary. You are not born with a mental illness. Like, if anyone tells you that, that's freaking garbage. Like, it's environmental. If you are put in a household with other people who have mental illnesses, chances are you will possibly also develop a mental illness if they're not helping and taking care of their mental illness. So like, it's 100% environmental. Like, it's caused by other people and their environment and not dealing with their own issues, like inflicting it on you. So like, it's like, it is not my fault that I have bipolar depression. It is not at all. And honestly, like, being away from her and being divorced from my husband, who is also very emotionally and mentally abusive to me and physically abusive to me twice, like, I don't know. And then apparently I found out with my husband sitting next to me from my great aunt that I was also sexually abused growing up when I was like, I don't know, 8, I guess. So I don't remember any of it. I was blacked out for the whole entire thing, which thank God that happened. But apparently, like, this man got arrested for child pornography, and like, he was like the grandfather of my cousin and like not related to me at all. Like, he was like, I was related to her dad and this was her mom's dad. So like, all I remember is going to his house and him offering us cheese and crackers and orange juice, and my cousin looking at me with this like really like disturbed, terrified look, like, guess what, something bad's gonna happen to us, and like, be ready. And so like, he sexually abused her for a long time, and she didn't tell her parents until like way after he was in prison and stuff. But like, my great aunt was telling me this, and like, I was like, I've been to his house. Like, I've been to his house. And she's like, you were at his house? And I was like, yeah, like, my cousin's mom dropped us off there to like be babysat. And like, I don't think she knew this was happening then, because my cousin didn't say anything. And like, I didn't say anything. I didn't remember. I literally just remember like cheese, crackers, orange juice, and then blacking out. And then I don't remember anything else after that. But apparently he did something to me, because just so like, I like started like humping coffee tables and like doing like all this other stuff that was like sexual in nature, that was like a little odd for a kid to be doing. And so my mom, like, she was just like weirded out by it. And so like, she didn't really know what was going on. And so she's just like, Chelsea, you should not do that in the living room. Like, do that in your bedroom, use the hamper or something like that. So like, so like, it's not good. But anyway, so like, that happened to me. And so I found that out like, I don't know, 5 years ago, that I was sexually abused when I was a little kid. Like, it makes a lot of sense. I'm grateful that like God blocked that out from my memory, that I don't actually remember what he did to me. I'm hoping he didn't actually have sex with me. I'm hoping he just touched me inappropriately. I don't really know. But like, my breasts weren't developed. So like, all he would have done was like stuff with my vag. So like, that's, I don't know. So that happened to me. So that also contributed to my mental illness. So like, none of this stuff is my fault, like, at all. And I've worked my ass off literally like since I was 18. I tried to do it before I was anorexic in 7th grade, which I blame a boy for. Anyway, so like, you guys have like heard me talk about my preschool crush. His name's Eric. And like, he was my best friend like for 14 years before he joined the Air Force. And so like, he was my friend on Facebook, but I don't think it's got like complicated after I got divorced, and I reached out to him and we started like flirting and like talking about future stuff. And then like, he was sort of seeing someone. So like, we're taking like a break from whatever it was that was happening with us. So it sucks because like, I can't really communicate with him other than like email right now, because he blocked me on Facebook, I think just to like protect me from him sharing photos of whatever was going on with this girl. So I don't know. But anyway, but he used to draw me a drawing every day from preschool until 8th grade. He drew me a drawing, and then he would give me 15 minutes to look at the drawing, and then he would turn around and he'd be like, what do you think of my drawing? And he was always sitting in front of me. Like, I don't know how that worked with school. Like, the only year we didn't sit in front of each other was 5th grade. And I think like 8th grade, we had 2 classrooms. So it was a little weird. And at part of 7th grade, we weren't sitting by each other. But like, I remember the first time he ever drew a person, like he drew literally, like he was a very talented drawer. He didn't do anything with art, which is very disappointing. But he drew like these amazing drawings, like, and I would like be reading stuff in my encyclopedia at home, and I'd be like, this looks like Africa, Eric. Let me show you Africa on the map. And I like grab him, like drag him to the globe and like show him Africa on the map. And then like I'd show him like, I don't know, other things that I learned in the encyclopedia, things that he drew that he had no idea like what he was really drawing. At least I didn't think he knew what he was drawing. And like he just drew stuff that like came to his mind or stuff we were like learning in class or whatever. And so like, so that was like our little thing. And then we would talk every day about everything. And so like in 5th grade, I was going to give him, I had like a little heart-shaped locket with a key on my diary. And I was going to give it to him, and I was going to tell him how I felt about him. And we ended up sitting not by each other that year. And then a new boy came in, and the girl, my best friend, who I thought he had a crush on, like that was her last year there. And then she moved to like a different city. That was like an hour away from us, 45 minutes, I think actually. But anyway, so like I don't know. Then we both got married to other people, and now we're both divorced. And like, he's got a daughter. He lives in Germany. I'm in Texas. So like, I'm visiting him in Europe in December. I told him, I basically gave him like an ultimatum before we stopped talking on Facebook that like he has until December to figure out how he feels about me. So we'll see. But anyway, so his first time drawing a person, he drew me, which is like flattering, but like I didn't take 15 minutes to look at it. Like I literally just gave it back to him because I like thought like he thinks I'm fat, he thinks I'm disgusting. Like I don't want to look at this at all because it's like me and like a very cozy, like comfortable like sweatshirt. But I thought he like drew me fat. So I thought he thought I was fat, and like I was a cheerleader in grade school. And so like I thought I was like fat. So I was like, Eric thinks I'm fat, so I'm going to stop eating. So I stopped eating for a whole stupid boy US. I'm not even joking. And then like everybody was like, Chelsea's anorexic, and they're like sneaking me food and trying to like give me, and like I wouldn't eat it. And then he like finally was like, he turned around one day and he saw like an apple or some fruit that someone gave me on my desk. He's like, I think you should eat, Chelsea. And I was like, why? And then he's like, I think you need to fatten up. Like you need to bulk up. You're too skinny. I was like, you think I'm too skinny? And he's like, yeah. I was like, whatever. So then I started eating again. And so like, so then like, I think he took the picture out again, and he like gave it to me like after he saw me eating again and like doing better and like not starving myself. And so like, I looked at it, and then I was like, did you think I was fat? Like, I don't understand why. Like, I don't understand why I look so fat. And like, this is what you think I look like? He's like, this is my first time drawing a person. Like, 1, give me a break. And he's like, and 2, I put you in like a warm, cozy sweatshirt, so you're bulky with layers. And I was like, okay, that makes sense then. So then I like apologized for like not giving him proper feedback on his drawing, and said that he did a good job, that it does look like I'm wearing a cozy, warm sweatshirt. And so like, we were fine back to friends, and I wasn't anorexic anymore. So like, anyway, so the best therapy that I've ever received was internal family systems. My therapist, Quinn, at Gillespie County Mental Health, she was the one that told me like medication is not something that I just like, because I was having, because of my Sjogren's syndrome, I was having like a reaction to every medication that they put me on. Like, one made my hair fall out. I've been on literally every medication except anticonvulsants, which I'm allergic to. I break out in like a rash on my chest if I have an anticonvulsant, and that's like used to treat bipolar disorder. So like, I had the antipsychotics were the most of the ones that I took, and I've taken every single one, and mood stabilizers. I've taken every single one except lithium. Lithium is supposed to be really, really hard on your kidneys. And I have 2 twin friends that I've known since grade school, since 4th grade, that have polycystic kidney disease. And so I told both of them, like, they could have one of them could have one of my kidneys at some point down the road. So like, I've just been making sure I take really good care of my kidneys, and like I do things to like strengthen them and make them healthy, so that way they can have them when they need them and they go into failure, which is going to be anytime in the next few years, basically. But when they first told me about it, I was like preparing my body for this. And then when I found out that lithium was really bad on the kidneys, and that you had to get blood tests constantly, I was like, I'm not even going to bother trying that one. Like, my kidneys need to be in tip top shape for Eric and Elaine. So like, so I didn't whatever. So I that's the only one I haven't tried, but I've tried every single other one. And the only one that really works for me, that doesn't cause my hair to fall out, that doesn't cause my arm to go numb and have like shooting pain for hours upon hours, that doesn't cause my hands to shake and give me tremors, that doesn't cause my tongue to swell up like I don't even know what, that doesn't cause weight gain, that doesn't cause all these other things, is quetiapine. So like, and that's basically, what is the brand name for it? Quetiapine. Let me look this up. Seroquel. Okay, so because of my Sjogren's syndrome and because I'm so sensitive to medications, I can't have high doses. High doses literally will like make my entire mouth super dry and like swell up and like I can barely breathe and cough. And like I just need to take tons and tons of water, and even that doesn't work because my body doesn't produce moisture properly as it is, and lots of medications dry you out. So basically, like, I'm not on anything right now. So like I weaned off with the help of my psychiatrist and therapist. I've used online therapy through Cerebral and Talkspace. I really like those. I like Cerebral the best. I've benefited more from group therapy sessions than I have from other ones. I've been to a psychiatric hospital. I've been to a mental health treatment facility, and all that happened this year when I was actually very mentally stable. People just got very concerned for me and made sure that I ended up there, which was very frustrating because these people were very freaking ignorant about mental illness. And so I'm literally the stablest and happiest I've ever been without those two triggers in my life. And I've learned so much from therapy in the last 2 decades that I don't feel like I'm getting much from it, but my most helpful has been IFS. So I'm going to share that with you guys today. So this is a workbook that I purchased on Amazon. It's called Self-Therapy Workbook, an exercise book for the IFS process, which is Internal Family Systems. It's by Bonnie L. Weiss. She's a therapist. She's a licensed social worker, actually. So we're going to start with the introduction, and then we're going to lead into the rest of the stuff. There are some like meditations you can download off the internet. So I'm going to share those links in the comments in the description below. So that way you guys can access that yourself and try it at home. And then I have some other resources that I can share with you as well. But right now we're just going to work our way through this workbook, which I haven't even finished yet. I've been slacking, so I thought I would just do it with you guys, and then it can help me and help you at the same time. Okay, so introduction. This workbook is a companion book to Self-Therapy by J. Early, PhD. Self-Therapy lays out the step-by-step process of the internal family systems therapy model originated by Richard Schwartz, PhD. So he actually has like an audio thing that Quinn borrowed me that I downloaded onto my laptop. So I've gone through the whole series before, and that's kind of where all these things got worked up, where like I had little kids inside of me who had been like hurt by adults. So like those little kids, once they found out I was in my 30s and like I have a job and I'm functioning and I'm not a little kid, they don't have to protect me anymore. So they were able to unleash their rage on my mother. And if my dad was still alive, I'm sure a lot of them would have unleashed rage on my father, but he's dead, thank God for him. So, okay, PhD Schwartz, www.selfleadership.org. The book is designed to facilitate learning the basics of the IFS process. The workbook takes you step by step from accessing a part by working with protectors through getting to know and heal the more fragile, exiled parts of the psyche. The format of integrated concept descriptions and exercises is ideal for individual exploration, small groups, or classes. Exercise can be done on one's own or with a partner. The workbook structure allows for journal-style following of your process. The workbook provides summaries of the steps outlined by Early and offers expanded exercises to work with and integrate the IFS process. Sample responses to the exercises are provided in order to clarify the ideas being explored. The workbook goes beyond self-therapy by including chapters on using IFS with couples, polarization, and firefighters. For a fuller explanation of various IFS ideas, transcripts of sessions, and case examples, refer to self-therapy. As clinicians, Jay and I were very excited to discover the IFS model. It allowed us to integrate our training and clinical experience with our years of spiritual practice. The concept of self brings into the therapeutic arena the power of higher consciousness as a healing tool. We are deeply grateful to Dick Schwartz for his unflagging commitment to bring this model into the world. Over the years of teaching the IFS model and using it with clients, Jay and I have provided user-friendly materials that enable people to use the powerful tools of IFS in their individual efforts to grow and develop their humanness as well as to transform personal difficulties. Being psychotherapists, we deeply value the importance of the helping relationship and the sacredness of the therapeutic encounter. We do, however, believe that people can benefit from being introduced to this model outside of therapy and can work by themselves or with a partner to further their personal understanding and gain some relief from internal structures that have limited their ability to function in a satisfying way. Our hope is that this workbook will supplement existing material by providing a clear, easy to follow structure by doing IFS work. Okay, so downloadable exercise pages that accompany this workbook are available at http://personal-growth-programs.com/self-therapy-workbook-Bonnie-Weiss, WEISS. Okay, chapter 1, basic IFS concepts. Internal family systems, or IFS, is a relatively new form of therapy that is compassionate, inclusive, spiritual, powerfully healing, and deeply respectful of our inner life. IFS recognizes that our psyches are made up of different parts, sometimes called super personalities. You can think of them as little people inside us. Each part has its own perspective, feelings, memories, goals, and motivations. For example, one part of you might be trying to lose weight and might want to eat whatever it wants. We can all recognize parts like the inner critic, the abandoned child, the pleaser, the angry part, and the loving caretaker. Parts have motivations for everything they do. Nothing is done just out of habit. Nothing is just a pattern of thinking or behavior that you learned. Everything, except for purely physiological reactions, is done by a part for a reason, even though that reason may be unconscious. Understanding parts in this way gives you a great deal of power to change your inner system. It means that there is an understandable rationale for your behavior, feelings, and attitudes. It is possible to get to know these parts, develop relationships with them, and help them heal. Once healed, they no longer need to behave in ways that seem at odds with your intentions, values, and goals. The possibility for harmonious integration is real. Richard Schwartz, PhD in developing the IFS method, discovered that every part has a positive intent for you, no matter how problematic its behavior. For example, Bill had a part that was judgmental and competitive with other people in a way that was not consistent with his true values. However, when he really got to know that part, he discovered that it was just trying to help him feel okay about himself in the only way it knew how, by feeling superior to others. Understanding that a part has positive intent doesn't mean that you give the part power. Bill doesn't want his part to act out being judgmental and competitive. Using the IFS approach, Bill can relate to this part with understanding and appreciation while also taking the steps to heal it. This approach is fundamentally different from the way we originally relate to our parts. Usually, when we become aware of a part, the first thing we do is evaluate it. Is it good or bad for us? If we decide it is good, we embrace it and give it power. If we decide it is bad, we try to suppress it or get rid of it. The truth is, you can't get rid of a part. You can only push it into the deeper layers of your psyche, where it will continue to affect you without your awareness. In IFS, we do something altogether different and radical. We welcome all our parts with curiosity and compassion. We seek to understand them and appreciate their efforts to help us. We develop a relationship of caring and trust with each part, and then take the steps to release it from its burdens so it can function in a healthy way. In the IFS system, protectors are the parts you usually encounter first in exploring yourself. Their job is to handle the world, protect you, and keep you functioning. They interact in a reasonable, strategic way with the people, responsibilities, and situations in your environment. The other main function of these parts is to protect you from the pain of the exiles. These are young child parts that hold the pain from the past. They are generally exiled or kept out of consciousness by the protectors. In the above example, Bill had a protector that was competitive and judgmental toward others. It was trying to help Bill feel superior in order to protect against an exile part that felt inadequate. The exile part had probably suffered some kind of humiliation or rejection in the past that left it feeling unworthy. Parts take on these dysfunctional roles because of what has happened to them in the past. Exiles take on pain and burdens from what they experienced as children. Protectors take on their roles in order to protect exiles or to protect you from the pain of exiles. The IFS process. IFS has a method of understanding and working with these parts to release the burdens they carry from the past and heal the system so you can function in healthy ways. The key to this healing is the self. IFS is in the self. IFS recognizes that each of us has a spiritual center, a true self. This self is naturally compassionate and curious about people, especially about our own parts. The self wants to connect with each part and get to know and understand it. The self feels compassion for the pain of the exiles and the burdens of pain that they carry. It also has compassion for the protectors and the tough jobs they take on trying to keep the exiles from being re-injured or exposed. The self is able to stay calm and centered despite the sometimes intense emotions that parts may feel. Everyone has a self, even though you may feel that yours is not very accessible at times because of the activity of your parts. The self is the agent of healing, the true leader of the internal system that can love and heal each part. The first step in the Ifs process is learning how to access the self. Then the self focuses its energy on the part. In Bill's case, he started out his Ifs work by focusing on his judgmental part. With some work, he was able to be genuinely in his self so that he was interested in getting to know the judgmental part. He found out that it was trying to protect an exile part of him that felt inadequate. Bill had a learning problem as a child, even though he is quite intelligent and competent. So there was a young part of Bill that had felt inadequate in school. The judgmental part was trying to compensate for this inadequate experience by feeling superior to people. Bill had grown up in a judgmental, competitive home, so that was the primary model this part knew. As Bill got to know the judgmental part, he understood why this part acted as it did and appreciated its efforts on his behalf. He then contacted the exile who felt inadequate. He listened and watched as this part showed him scenes from his childhood when it felt ashamed and inadequate because of his learning problem, and he responded to the exile with compassion and caring. The young part responded to this by feeling cherished and valuable for the first time. Up until then, it had been hidden away in Bill's unconscious, which only increased its feelings of worthlessness. With love from Bill's self, this young part was able to release the burden of inadequacy that it had been carrying and feeling good about itself. This allowed the judgmental protector to relax. It no longer needed to judge people to compensate for the exile's pain. This enabled Bill to respond to people in the way he always wanted, with openness, acceptance, and a cooperative attitude. Ifs Principles. The following are some basic principles of the internal family systems model. These concepts underlie the work described in this workbook. All parts are welcome. You never make a part set aside or separate. You only ask. You respect the reasons parts have for what they are and aren't willing to do. All parts have positive intent at their core and ultimately want only the best for you. If they appear to have negative intent, they are using strategies that on some level made sense at some point in their past, but are no longer effective. Getting inside their world and understanding the origin of those strategies is a key step in helping them adopt more effective strategies. Parts will cooperate once their fears are addressed and once they can feel you and self and understand your intentions. It is impossible to do it in wrong when working on yourself using Ifs. Even if your process is completely blocked, it just means that a protector is stopping the process for some reason. You access that protector and find out why it is behaving that way. The fastest way to resolve an issue is to work slowly, patiently, and respectfully with all parts involved. Okay, guys, so we will do chapter 2 and 3 next time. And then we'll just probably do 2 chapters each time unless they're really long or there's like a lot to do. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed hearing about Ifs, and I hope that this becomes beneficial for you, or you buy the workbook yourself and work through it yourself, or talk to your therapist about doing Ifs. All right. Thanks, guys. Bye.